Wilson takes the snap. He's back to throw. He's under pressure. Flushed out to his left. Stands back there. Now he's going to moonball it down the middle of the field. High in the air. Batted down and incomplete. And the New York Giants are going to leave Seattle with a victory.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Big Boof Bets. It's the Get That Money podcast. I am Nate Stevenson, and as always, I am joined by the wonderful, the very talented Mr. Big Boofy Skirman, and that other guy, Mr. Tony T-Bone Corino. He's okay, too. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Looking forward to getting back on the winning track this week and making some more money.
That's what we like to hear. How you doing, Tone?
Yeah, same there. I don't have any ill-willed things to say towards teams. It was at Tennessee, but Kansas City. There's definitely not teams that I'm mad at, but no, I am happy to be a part of this podcast as always, which is continuing to print my units, and I suggest we all continue to follow as well, and get on those props while you can because they are hot.
Oh, yeah, baby. Absolutely. Get on the props. I wish I put more units on our props because I'm still suffering from some bet regrets on the live Seattle stuff throughout the Giants game, which was just a disaster. So, yeah, that about summed up my week last week. How was your week last week, Boof?
Well, my week pretty much mirrored the locks like it always does. So on that note, I'm going to give them to you. We went 7-5 last week. Losers were the Titans minus 5.5, Titans and Browns under 54.5, Seahawks minus 10, Chiefs minus 13.5, and Chiefs minus 7.5 time. Winners were the Lions plus 3, Colts minus 3, Jags plus 10, Falcons and Saints to go under 46, Packers minus 9, Washington plus 10, and the Bills minus 2.5. We also had the Raiders minus 7 conditionally, which I am thankful that one never became available because they would not have covered. In addition to that, props are at 25 and 21 on the week, not counting tonight's Cowboys and Baltimore game. And on that note, we have 8 more props for tonight's game, which if you are following us on social media, like I hope all of you are, you will see that as it has already been posted. Beyond that, I'm ready to dive into next week. How about you guys?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's start things off on Thursday again this week, or not again, but back to Thursday this week with the New England Patriots at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams laying 5.5 in your over/under at 44.5.
All right, we're starting off the week with a team that I hate and another team I can't trust, so I'm passing.
Well said, Nate. We got the Super Bowl rematch from a few years ago. Tough to put a whole lot of stock in anything, and a whole lot. I personally don't have any trust in either team. I am also passing.
Okay, well, let's just hurry on into Sunday then and start things off with the Arizona Cardinals at the New York Giants. Cardinals laying 2.5 in the over/under at 45.5.
A lot of this handicap is based on the fact that I just don't see Colt McCoy going 2-0 as a starter and the Giants winning their 5th game in a row. I just don't see it happening, especially against let's just say, call them an above average team in the Cardinals. And what's an important game I will allow for both teams, considering the initial handicap on the Giants. I think the Cardinals get it done here, and we're laying under a field goal. Kyler is now about a month out from that shoulder injury. And I just think they have clearly the better offense, and it's just going to be a little bit too much for the Giants. And that surprisingly highly ranked defense they have. And in the end, they're just not going to have enough offensively to keep up with the Cards. We're laying under a field goal. Give me the Cards.
So my girlfriend is a loyal listener to the podcast. And a couple weeks ago, she told me that we've been giving the Cardinals too much love. And, last week I took a week off. I shared the stat with you guys. Our Cardinals-related bets are actually 3-7 on the year. And during said week off last week, the Cardinals went ahead and lost by 10 to the Rams. So everything would tell you that I should pass here. But, sorry, Justine, I'm with Nate. Cardinals minus 2.5. We're getting it done this week, and it's our first lock of the week.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right, let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cowboys laying 3.5 and the over-under at 43.5.
This might be the only time you hear me say this year. I'm on the boys, baby. Lay the points. They're actually playing a team that is way worse than they are. Dalton going back where it all began, back to old Cincinnati. He's going to get it done against one of the worst defenses in the league. Give me the boys, laying 3.5. I think you have at least a touchdown victory here. Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is more of a bet against the Bengals than it is for the Cowboys. They just think with Brandon Allen. And what were the point totals we were talking about during our discussion? Their offense is responsible for what, 10 and 17 points? Is that correct?
The last two games, they scored 7 against Miami. And then the week before that, they scored 17 points, but one was a special teams touchdown, so they scored 10 against the Giants.
That's right. So 10 and 7 offensive points. Now, I know Dallas's defense stinks, so that number will probably be a little bit higher, but Dallas still has a lot of talent on offense, and the Bengals are horrible on defense. We are only talking about 3.5 here. Honestly, after tonight's game, that number, after I expect the Cowboys to get whooped by the Ravens, that number might even go down. So I love it at 3.5. It is a lock for us. If it goes down even more power to you. Obviously, take that as well.
Oh, yeah. Lock it in. Get that money. How about them Cowboys?
Okay, moving on. We have the Denver Broncos at the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers laying 3.5 and the over-under at 46.5.
I think Vic Fangio is an awful head coach. I think Drew Lock is, I don't know what he is right now as a quarterback. There's injuries on offense and defense for Denver. Then you have Carolina. They don't have DJ Moore. You are getting McCaffrey back. You expect maybe some rust, or I don't know if he's 100% yet. I do think Denver has the better defense, but I don't know, so I'm going to pass.
Yeah, my knee-jerk reaction was to take the Panthers, but DJ Moore is on the COVID list, and he has, I think it's an ankle issue. And Carolina's last game, the actual last offensive play for them was Teddy Bridgewater going to spike the ball. In the play before that, he had some sort of injury to his arm, and you could tell he was barely able to spike the ball. He just kind of took it and kind of did a downward shot put, if you will, to actually spike the ball. So he looked like he was in a lot of pain with his throwing arm. They had the bye week, and I don't have the full update yet. Too much uncertainty for me. I am going to pass.
All right, up next we have the Houston Texans at the Chicago Bears. The Texans laying 1.5 and the over-under at 44.5.
I don't really trust either of these teams. And the spread pretty much says that it could go either way. We're going anywhere from 1.5 point being laid by Houston, even though the Bears have the better record. The Bears have the better defense. Houston has the better offense. But Houston has a really bad defense, and it just got worse losing Bradley Roby. The Bears can be semi-competent offensively sometimes, and the fact that we're going against a really bad defense, I like them to score some points, and I also trust what I'm seeing from Deshaun Watson to score some points on the Houston side. And right now, I'm seeing a nice juicy total of 44.5. I mean, you're talking as low as 24-21 gets that done. So that's good enough for me. I like both teams to combine for enough points here. Give me the over.
I like the over as well. 6 out of the last 7 games for Houston have gone over that total. The one that didn't was against Cleveland, and that was during a 3-game stretch for Cleveland at home with a bunch of crappy weather where everything was like under 20 points. And then the Bears' last 2 games have also gone over that total. Combine that with all the things that Nate said, I think we can feel pretty good about seeing some points on Sunday. Over 44.5. It's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right, well, now let's take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs at the Miami Dolphins. Chiefs laying 7, and your over-under at 49.5.
Yeah, the Chiefs normally don't lay 2 eggs in a row. And unlike most teams, when the Chiefs lay an egg, that means they just didn't cover, but they still won. Most teams would love to be able to say that. Now you're going down to Miami, a team that has a pretty solid defense, but they are suspect offensively. Miami may have a good defense, but KC's offense is even better. And then you combine that with the fact that Miami's offense is going to have to open up to keep up with that KC offense. I think that only means good things for the Chiefs here. I'm going to lay the 7 with the Chiefs and feel really good about it.
Yeah, Miami last week took a while, well into the third quarter against the Bengals before they were finally able to pull away. I know the Chiefs didn't look amazing against Denver. But Nate, like you said, that rarely happens 2 weeks in a row for them. Combine that with the fact that the Steelers lost, so the Chiefs are now tied as far as the record is concerned for the number 1 seed. And knowing how precious the lone bye in each conference is, I think we see the best out of the Chiefs, and I think we cover -7, no problem. It's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Chiefs.
All right, up next, the Minnesota Vikings at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs laying 6.5, and the over-under at 51.5.
You know, based on how Brady has performed in primetime, this might be one of those rare times that the 1 o'clock East Coast game is more important for Brady than it is for our boy Cousins. What do you think, Tone?
Well, it is risky if he happens to have a peanut butter jelly sandwich in December. We know that that's led to a lot of passer rating problems, but we'll just hope that he goes for the fluffernutter instead.
Yeah, we'll go with that, Tone. But yeah, we got Tampa Bay laying under a touchdown here at home after the bye, expecting Brady to have some of the issues cleaned up on offense. And we're facing a juicy Minnesota defense that is ranked in the bottom half of the league. I expect Tampa Bay to get it done here, score a lot of points, and hold Kirk Cousins down enough, probably to the tune of, I don't know, at least 1 or 2 interceptions, which will only aid the Tampa Bay result. So let me lay the points with Tampa Bay, -6.5.
Tampa, to me, seems to be the type of team that is going to take care of business when they should. And when they're in the ultra spotlight against the top of the league, I think you see where their ceiling is, if you will. This happens to be against a middle-of-the-pack Vikings team. I don't think the 6.5 is unreasonable to lay. I'm going to lay it. It's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
Okay, the final 1 o'clock game on Sunday is the Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Titans laying 7.5, and the over-under at 53.5.
So, yeah, the Jags seem to hang around. It's over a touchdown. So I kind of like that. But, conversely, I do believe Tennessee is the better team. They did just kind of take a butt whooping at the hands of the Cleveland Browns, which anyone should be embarrassed about. And then, their defense isn't very good. The last time these two teams played, it was 33-30. So I'd also want to lean over. So, my 2 leans are Jacksonville with the points and the over, but I don't feel good enough about either of them to lock them, so I'm going to pass.
Yeah, if you made me, I would take the points with the Jaguars. But it's obviously, it's not something I feel super comfortable with. I think this game is very teaser eligible. So if you took the Titans and teased them in a 6-point teaser, you would get them down to -1.5. I do think they're going to win the game. 1.5 obviously is pretty much a pick 'em. You could take your pick out of KC, the Packers, the Saints. Any of those 3 teams you tease them with, I think you have yourself a good teaser, and I think that's how I would slice it.
All right, so let's get on into the 4 o'clock hour, the late afternoon games. Starting with the Indianapolis Colts at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Colts laying 2.5 and the over-under at 51.5.
Yeah, I think the Raiders are starting to show some cracks here. Dealing with some injuries in their secondary. Aguilar was a little banged up last week. A little disappointed he didn't hit his prop total. A little personal irritation there. The big thing here, though, the way you beat Indianapolis is you force Phillip Rivers to make mistakes. The Raiders don't have a really good pass rush, and they don't have a good secondary. So we're laying under a field goal with Indianapolis. I just see Phillip Rivers picking them apart, and the Raiders not able to force him into mistakes. So you're going to let him sit back there all day, along with that solid run game. We're laying under a field goal. Give me the Colts.
So 3 weeks ago, the Raiders got a lot of love, ourselves included, after a loss to the Chiefs. And they looked amazing offensively. And they just looked like a team that was really going to be a force in the AFC come playoff time. Since then, they went ahead and put up 6 points against the Falcons in a beatdown, and then almost lost to the Jets. It took a fireable offense by Greg Williams sending an all-out cover zero blitz on a Hail Mary situation, which the Raiders did capitalize on to get the W. But point is, they've looked like crap since then. And we're playing a Colts team that is in a must-win game. It's under a field goal. I do think the Colts, in general, are the better team. Like Nate said, the Raiders are not good where you really need and want to be if you're going to beat the Colts. So, to me, everything says take the Colts minus 2.5, and it's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah. Let the rivers of units flow. Get that money.
Okay, up next we have the New York Jets at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks laying 13.5 and the over-under at 46.5.
It's under 14 with the Jets against a really good team. So I'm not going to complicate it. I'm going to lay the points with Seattle for the game. I'm going to lay the 7 at the half for Seattle. And I'm going to enjoy making a lot of units.
Beyond what Nate just said, Seattle just had their letdown game against the Giants. So we got that out of the way. We're at home. It's the Jets. It's under 14. I'm going to take the minus 13.5, and I'm also going to take the minus 7 at halftime. 2 locks. Get that money.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Twice.
All right, moving on. We have the Atlanta Falcons at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Falcons laying 2.5 and the over-under at 49.5.
I really think this game should be a pick'em, just to start with, considering these are the 2 worst teams in the league this year in terms of blowing leads. So honestly, like, if any one of these teams has a big lead, take the points with the other team on the live line. You will probably make some money. Like, that's legitimate live betting strategy with the way these 2 teams are. Having said that, you need to be getting over a field goal with Anthony Lynn if you want to take points with the Chargers. They are not getting over a field goal. Atlanta has the better defense. They've been better under Raheem Morris, and they're laying under a field goal. So, to me, I'm going to lay the points with the Falcons here, and I'm going to go stroll happily down to the window and collect my units.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just, like you said, the Falcons have been a lot better under Raheem Morris after making the coaching change. And I know it's a big if, but if we could eliminate the 98% chance where, you should have won the game but ended up blowing it, this team is not only a playoff team, but you're sitting around saying, boy, you got a lot of firepower on offense. Defense is playing good. I'm not going to call them like the number 1 seed in the NFC or anything, but this would be a team you would be like, if you're the Saints and you are the number 1 seed, you would be afraid to play this team. And that's kind of how I view the Falcons right now. The Chargers, to me, are in a little bit of a tailspin at this point. They just lost 45-0 to the Patriots at home. So I like the Falcons minus 2.5, and it's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Anthony Lynn sucks.
Okay, well, next we'll take a look at the Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. Packers laying 7.5, and you're over under at 55.5.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going against the Aaron Rodgers revenge tour. They smoked the Lions the first time they played them. The Lions are supposed to be without Kenny Galladay again, potentially DeAndre Swift. Could 50-50 there, still coming back from concussion protocol. We're at 7.5. I would lay it at 7.5. The only reason I'm exercising caution here is I do think the fact that Detroit beat the Bears last week and there is potential, the fact Swift is 50-50 to come back, I think you could actually get a better line. So I would like to wait until this gets to 7. What say you, Boof?
Yeah, I see it the same way. On Fox Bet, the payout is already at plus 100, which if you follow lines week to week, you know that means we're close to bumping it up to the next threshold as far as points are concerned, meaning we are very close to getting a -7 line, and that's as is. Now, if we get any news that DeAndre Swift comes back, or if we get any bettors out there that saw the Lions beat the Bears last week and said, "Oh, I'm getting over a touchdown. I'm going to lay some money on that." I have a lot of confidence that we are going to get it up to 7. So that's how we're going to play it. Conditionally lock the Packers at -7.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Conditionally. Go back up.
Okay, moving on. We have the New Orleans Saints at the Philadelphia Eagles. Saints laying 7, and the over-under at 44.5.
I would have laid 7 with the Saints if they were facing the Carson Wentz-led Philadelphia Eagles. Now comes news that they're going to be facing the Jalen Hurts-led Philadelphia Eagles. And as bad as Carson Wentz has played this year, I'm sorry to break the news to my Philly friends, but Jalen Hurts ain't better. He ain't going to be better. He's actually worse. He was 5 of 12 last week. That's not good. It's certainly not better than Wentz, at least most of the time. Now you're giving a Saints defense, which is a top tier defense, a week to prepare for a rookie quarterback. Yeah, give me the Saints, lay in the 7, and be happy.
The Eagles offensively have 2 royal problems. They're bad on the offensive line, pass blocking and run blocking, and their receivers do not get open. So for me, that is why you have a previous MVP candidate in Carson Wentz, who looks like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league and has since been benched for Jalen Hurts, who came in and only went 5 of 12, in a running game that is also not doing anything when everybody tells me to bet on Miles Sanders every week, and he continues to not cover. So the Eagles offensively are not going to be doing anything. The Saints are undefeated in the last 2 seasons with Teddy Bridgewater or Taysom Hill as the starting QB, a.k.a. when Drew Brees is injured. I expect that trend to continue, and I expect us to cover the -7. Give me the Saints. It's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right, the final late afternoon game for Sunday is the Washington football team at the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers laying 4, and you're over-under at 43.5.
That would be the Washington football team that just defeated the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. And they are still getting 4 points going to the backup quarterback-led San Francisco 49ers. And I just watched the Niners lose to a Bills team with a pretty porous defense. And, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the Washington football team, it's so weird calling them that still, like the Washington football team. The Washington football team. The Washington football team does have a top-tier defense. They have a great defensive line, and they were knocking passes down all game against a 6'5" quarterback named Ben Roethlisberger. Now they're facing the Nick Mullins-led 49ers, and I don't know if you've watched too many 49ers games, but Nick Mullins is not a tall guy. The football team has a great defensive line. They're great at knocking passes down. They did it all game against the Steelers. I think that's definitely something that's going to affect the 49er offense. On top of that, obviously, you have the injuries still. They have without Garoppolo, obviously. They're without Kittle. Kittle is a huge loss just beyond the quarterback position. And we're getting 4 points here. Washington plays close games, win or lose, and we're getting over a field goal. I like the points with the football team.
I also like the points with the Washington football team. Washington has covered this number in each of their last 7 games, including winning 4 of them outright. And as you said, amongst those 4, one of them was against the undefeated Steelers. 49ers still do not have Jimmy G or Mr. Kittle at tight end. Their 2 biggest weapons on offense. This might be my favorite pick of the week. I love Washington. It's another lock for us.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Go football team.
All right, well, that takes us into the Sunday night football game, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills laying 2.5 in the over-under at 46.5.
This Yinzer would actually gladly accept another Steeler loss in this game if we just ran like one quarterback sneak, like just one. I'm sorry, personal bias out of the way here. We got the Steelers getting 2.5 against the Bills. Honestly, when we first broke down this game, the Steelers were only getting 1.5. So we definitely have some public overreaction here to both of the games last night. The Steelers kind of going into a shell offensively against the football team, and Buffalo, conversely, putting on an offensive show against the 49ers. So this is one of those ones, like, it's under a field goal either way. I wouldn't feel comfortable picking a side. But if the public continues to jump on it and the line continues to go up for the Steelers, I mean, the Steelers still have – they're 11-1. They're still really good. They still have a really good defense. They still have a lot of talent on offense. If this line gets to 3 or above, I'd take the Steelers. I mean, you're giving me a field goal, I'll take the Steelers all day. But it ain't there yet, so we won't go there. But the Steelers are going against a Buffalo Bills team with a really good offense and a very porous defense. And I see a nice juicy total of 46.5. I think that's over all day. I actually said to Boof before the lines even came out, if this total comes out at anything under 50.5, over all day. And when it came out at 46.5, I was like, yes, give it to me all day. That's where we're going. So that's where I'm going. Let's go.
So like Nate said, he put the word out. If this total comes in anything under 50.5, we're taking it. Before we even started recording, I was lucky enough to place my bet at 46. It's now up to 46.5. We still love it there. That is a lock for us. Nate, you mentioned you would take the Steelers at +3. How strong do you feel about that?
I'll definitely conditionally lock that. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I was asking. Okay, let's do it. Steelers +3 conditionally. So if this line gets the +3, we're going to lock that in as well, and let's get that money.
I'm not going to lie, Boof. This is the first time we've ever had a lock on one thing and a conditional lock on the other thing. So you caught me at a kind of a loss here. So we're just going to go, oh, yeah, get that money.
We have a live conditional lock.
It's beautiful. Lock it in.
That's definitely a podcast first, I think. We've had the live lock, but a live conditional lock. No question about that. All right, well, what a way to lead into the final game of the week of the Monday Night Football matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens are currently only laying a half a point, basically a pick 'em. Total is not yet available from what I could see.
If I could lay odds on next week, you hearing the Denny Green, they are who we thought they were sounder, because the Ravens beat down the Browns this week, I'd put that at about -250. We basically have the Ravens in a pick'em against the Browns. Now, I'm not trying to disrespect the Browns. The Browns are 9-3, and you cannot ignore that at all. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat. But here's the thing. The Ravens aren't one of those teams that they're supposed to beat. You know how I know? Because the Ravens beat their ass 38-6 the first time they played. And the Ravens do things that give the Browns problems. On top of that, the Ravens are a very, very motivated team because they are on the fringe of the playoffs right now with the injuries and issues that they've had over the last few weeks. So we basically have a pick 'em game here. Give me the Ravens all day. All day.
I kind of have to laugh because I live in a world where Cleveland is 9-3, and they are coming off of a very respectable win and a very good win against the Titans on the road.
It's 2020, baby.
It is. Boy, is it ever 2020. And I go and I pull up my betting lines in Cleveland at home against a 5-loss team, and depending on how tonight's game goes, potentially even a 6-loss team, is still the underdog. And I completely agree with it. I expect the Ravens to whoop Dallas tonight, and I expect the Ravens to whoop Cleveland again. What was the score the first time? One more time for the people, Nate?
That would be 38-6.
38-6. I expect something similar. We're getting them at minus half a point, basically a pick 'em. Love the Ravens. It's another lock for us this week.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money. Browns still suck.
All right, well, that does it for me for this week. So, as always, I leave it to you two to carry us to the promised land.
Well, we have 14 locks this week, potentially.
We have potentially 15 locks this week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, live conditional locks. My fault. We have potentially 15 locks this week, starting with the Cardinals minus 2.5, Cowboys minus 3.5, Bears and Texans to go over 44.5, Chiefs minus 7, Bucks minus 6.5, Colts minus 2.5, Seahawks minus 13.5, Seahawks minus 7 at halftime, Falcons minus 2.5, Packers conditionally at minus 7, Saints minus 7, Washington plus 4, Steelers and Bills to go over 46.5, Steelers conditionally at plus 3, and Ravens minus half a point. And I know Nate's got a parlay, at least one parlay for the people.
Always, brother, always. It's time for Nate parlay tier betting strategy time, and we're going to try to keep this fairly simple for everybody this week. The big guy, the big money maker, is going to be Cards money line, Cowboys money line, Texans Bears over 41.5, buying a few points. KC halftime full time, Tampa Bay halftime full time. That is Titans Jags over 44.5. Colts minus 2.5. Seattle halftime full time, Atlanta plus 4.5. Green Bay halftime full time. The Saints minus 7, just because I couldn't move the line, but I still liked it a lot. Steelers, Bills over 46.5. Again, couldn't move the line, but still liked it a lot. And the Baltimore money line. That's a 13-leg parlay, which gives you plus 63, 124 on the odds, which means a $100 bet will win you $63,000 and $124. That sucks. No one likes that. That would not help you for Christmas at all.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
And so we're going to do 2 more steps here. We're going to do it simple and easy here. We're going to remove the KC, Tampa Bay, and the Green Bay halftime full-time lines and just substitute the money lines for Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and Green Bay. All right, that's the first step. The second step is we are going to substitute the Colts and the Saints point spreads for just the Colts and the Saints money lines. That's all we're doing there. Still a 13-leg parlay, brings it down to plus 18,735, which means a $100 bet would win you $18,735. That's step 2. And then lastly, the get out of jail free parlay this week is the Cowboys money line, the Seattle halftime full time, which means they have to be winning at the half and at the end of the game in regulation. KC money line, Tampa Bay money line, Green Bay money line, and New Orleans money line. 6-leg parlay plus 516 on the odds. $100 bet wins you $516.
All right, Nate. Thank you as always for sharing. Looking forward to winning some money this week. Best of luck to everybody, and let's get that money.
Oh, yeah. Get that money. Chiefs.
Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, then I don't do that.